Right. Peace to the guy, King Son, who's logging on tonight.
King Son, big up yourself. Yo, listen, that's a big brother right there. I remember seeing King Son, like, listen, wow. This is an OG. He's whispered game to us back in the days too, man, when we was trying to, figure this thing out.
No doubt. So take us back. What labels did you shop to, and what made you guys go with Reprise Warner Brothers?
Youth and experience. That's what made us go with it. I mean, money. Really, it was so we went to we the deals we were offered were with Warner, and it was directly. It was with Benny Medina had sat down with us, who was the president of Warner. He's the one who um, the Fresh Prince story is based off of his life. He was the executive producer of the Fresh Prince story. Then he was president of Warner. He sat down with us, gave us the spiel in a fancy restaurant across from the water tower, the big Warner Brothers water tower, and he hit us with the fast talk. Like, listen, and we were like, we're meeting with the president. And so we was a little gassed. I think that played into it too. I don't think he did anything wrong or shady. You know what I mean? He just did his pitch to some young cats that was hot that he wanted to get on the label.
Right.
But we went to EMI, Mercury, which was Polygram, Polydor at the time, and Jermaine, which was like Jermaine Dupri,
Right.
which was like we had. So okay, so quick, the link goes like this. We went from um, those interviews came after BMI. So we went to BMI originally. This is how active BMI ASCAP, and there was a Cat Jackson and Eric up there. They had liked what we were doing, and they saw we was raw talent like that, and then they were like, okay, y'all need a manager, y'all need this, y'all need that. Oh yes, Mr. Man chimed in. Cold Chillin' was on the table too. Fly Tie from Cold Chillin', which at that time Cold Chillin' was still, they were maybe coming off of their peak, but they were still like a foundation label. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
if you was a hip hop group, you was Daz Effects went through there to try to get a deal. Everybody went through, it was like the Def Jam in a way,
Right.
before Def Jam was really the soul, hip hop heads. But Cold Chillin' was there. We Fly Ty, I remember he even flew out to Cali to make sure that with the Warner deal, he didn't get lost in the sauce. He wanted to make sure he represented for local cats, Brooklyn cats. But it was a money grab, and they felt like we was going to be some pop type of group. You know what I'm saying? Some big crossover group. Jermaine, uh, the BMI, and I know this is real disjointed. This is so, this is coming out off the back of the memory, but we after talking to Kat and her bringing us around to these labels, she also brought us to managers, as I mentioned, and Jermaine's dad had a management company, Michael Malden, and Bart Phillips was one of the partners, and he had taken us on as a point person. You know what I mean? He fell in love with the group. At that time, he also managed Arrested Development, which was on the management team, and then Crisscross was just blowing, and Jermaine had Escape and Brat before they came out. So in hindsight, sometimes we look at, and Jermaine, has said that too. Was like, man, we should have did this. It could have been this. It could have been that. But I think we just didn't know, man. We just saw a big budget. We saw money. You know what I mean? We thought we didn't understand. I think we saw it, but we didn't understand Jermaine's like real love for music. Just period. We understood it as Crisscross. That's all we knew at the time. You know what I mean? But we liked him though, you know what I'm saying? But it was just like we didn't know how musically it was gonna work. In
Right.
hindsight, we just kidnap him and take him to Jamaica for like a month and let him chill, and he would have caught the vibe. You feel me? It would have
Right.
been over.
Right.
But again, I was 17, man, when I signed the deal. Like, what did I, you know what I mean? I had to go to courts with my moms to sign the deal. What did I really know?
Right.
You know?
Can you detail what those that deal was for? Was it for more than two albums? Was it the first album and then?
Oh, it's for your whole life. It's for your whole life, and after you dead your kids too. Like it was forever. It
Right.
was, no, I'm being funny, but it was literally like two, I believe it was 2 or 3 albums, guaranteed, and then the option was theirs, but it was like 6 to 8 options. So it'd have been like 15, 20 years worth of recording. You feel me? At the pace people were recording at, they weren't dropping twice a year at the time.
Right.
They wasn't pulling a DMX yet, God rest his soul.
Right.
But what we learned early was that, some of the game for them was just throw them against the wall, see if they stick. If you stick, then cool, boom. Now we're gonna get behind you. If not, whatever, tax write off. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
the irony of that is we fell in the middle. We fell in the middle because we had records that were getting so much burn. The melody, the beats, you know what I mean? It was like it was getting burned, but they wasn't really pushing it. So it was like, yo, how they getting burned? Like we putting stickers everywhere. We got nominated for an MTV award. Like I think I got a card from one lady in Warner, and I think our manager was in town, to hold us down. He ended up having to send like a car service. We ended up taking a train to his hotel, 3 blocks from the MTV Awards, and then we jumped in some little car service, like some old livery car service, 4-door joint, not no limo,
Right.
just to go like 3 blocks around the corner, then hop out and walk down the block, like. You know what I'm saying? Like your artist is nominated for MTV Awards. Like now me being grown, when I look in hindsight, I'm like, really? Like your artist is nominated for MTV Awards and you don't send a vehicle? You see what I'm saying? Like
Right.
I didn't understand the thinking until, you get older and you realize like they wasn't interested, dog. They were throwing groups against the wall. That's small money for them.
Right.
It's 300,000-400,000 a group. Well, write those off. About 10 of those, 3 point
Right.
something million. Simple write off for a major label.
Right.
But I didn't know that, understand that, and so we were always looking to these adults to, yo, why don't we, yo, and then we became rebellious. We would, I think we stole like a stack of they used to have car service slips. You would do it off of a slip. You just fill out the slip. You could get the car service for whatever. So I think we got like stacks of them joints, like box of them joints. Like, oh, we was everywhere. We was like, okay, that's our payback. You're not taking care of us, but we'll find a way.
Right.
Brooklyn style, we're gonna find a way. So if you had your little shorty or whatever, you could always just, she'd be like, I live too far. You'd be like, nah, I got you. Don't worry. You know what I mean? Just send
Right.
that car service. Back then, that was like, I was like
Gold.
having a Benz. I was like,
Right.
better than having a Benz, like having a driver. You know what I'm saying? So it was nice. It was nice.
Right. Did you guys release Swing It before the album came out, the debut album?
We released, so I don't, man, to be honest, and that's a great question, because it's one of those questions that I want to dodge. Like I don't ever want anyone to ever hear that song again. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Right.
don't like that record. We don't like that record because it was one of those records that kept getting forced. The label trying to force a single.
Mm-hmm.
It felt forced. Um, it was something we did on a demo, like for shows, and it evolved into this record. You know what I'm saying? And then became like Warner Brothers, and we're gonna do cartoons and Bugs Bunny, and y'all gonna be Jets. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking, damn, well, okay, buy my mom's a crib, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, they wasn't saying do no foolishness. They were saying they're gonna do cartoons. Okay, nah, they just gassing you, and then you end up doing records that you ain't even really. That's not what you was trying to do. You see what I'm saying? But it was a time limit. It's like get the album done, make this happen, make that happen. But I'll tell you this: the experience of the video. Looking back, we shot that video with a brother named Michael Lucero, who passed away about maybe a decade after the video or so, or so. But he man, he was a creative dude, and they flew us out to San Francisco. They flew us out to San Francisco to do the video, which was already out of pocket. How you gonna take Bush Babies to San Francisco on their first video? Why is that not in Flatbush? So, when I look back and think, yo, these was grown men doing this, like, yo, how you didn't know that? But then when you 17 or 18 arguing that point, that ain't gonna fly. You're gonna sound like a disgruntled, spoiled little artist that don't know you know what I mean? So
Right.
that was always the kind of the fight. But in like I said, doing that video and the whole experience and those errors that we look at as errors now, man, that's how I learned, you know?
Right.
That's how I have the ability to look back and be like, oh, okay, that's what he's doing. That's what that is. That's what the motivation there is, you know? And I don't know how else to get that information if you're not blessed with a mentor than to make your mistakes and make, you know, figure it out.
Right. It's time to record your debut album. What was the train of thought going into your debut album?
Rip it. Rip the mic. That was it. We didn't have no more thought than that.
Right.
Go in there and rip the mic. I to be honest, and Lee Major and Mr. Man will tell you this, like I didn't know. Yeah, I'm coming from Jamaica, man. I didn't even know you could double your voice. Like I thought we all had to go in the studio at the same time and get on the mic and do the record from the top to the bottom. You know what I'm saying? But you know, you learn, and I honestly ripping the mic, dude. I don't think we had no other than trying to represent. Everybody just wanted to represent. You know, think about the time to the era it was. You wanted to keep it real, represent where you was from, and make sure that people know you had that cadence on the mic, you had flows, and you know, and all of that.
Right.
That was it. We didn't think too much further than that.
What was the recording process like, and how did you guys go with choosing producers? You had like Salam Remy, Ali Shaheed on the album. How was that process of recording and selecting producers for the album?
The album was, you know, the first time around, it was kind of just whoever was. A lot of it was the label. A lot of it was, you know, us trying to figure it out. Mr. Man was, you know, he was always talented musically. His father was a infamous calypso musician, you know, Caribbean musician named Exuma from the Bahamas. So he always had that bug, and musically he was always there, but they didn't want to invest in him in that way, maybe, or maybe there was hesitant or a lot of money on the line. He hadn't made these beats yet. So he didn't really get to do what he wanted to do production wise until the second album. But the first album was a lot of like, you know, like you said, just bringing in the people they thought would be able to interpret what we're trying to do, you know, so that, i.e. a Salam, you see what I mean? Which he was able to obviously do. You hear me? They weren't wrong there.
Right.
But when it's quick, when it's not development, it's more so, you know, jump in, let's get a record done. So it's more so putting your skills to the test and trying to knock something out more than actually developing you. So I think that's kind of what went on with our first album. And then we got our feet wet and got that experience. And then that's why the second album is such a major jump. If you listen to it, just with
Right.
us, our tones, the beat, the cohesiveness, the ideas behind the songs, you know, making the songs, you know what I'm saying? You can hear
Right.
that jump, that maturity. So
Right.
that's kind of what it is.
Some of your best memories of those recording sessions for that debut album.
Um, One of my best memories, and hold on, I'm gonna take a pause real quick. I gotta get my charger before we do. Jamal, sorry guys.
No
Jay,
problem.
can you do me a favor? No, no, I know, but I need a different kind of favor. Can you run down to the car and look from a charger? You're gonna see it is plugged in the back. You know it. Just grab my charger and bring it. Come here, please. Thank you. I'm on like 4%, son. Please. Thank you.
No
Father
problem.
vibes, daddy vibes. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yo. So that to answer your question, I think one of my besides me not knowing you could go in one at a time on the mic. That was an embarrassing moment for me. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was laughing at me. So, but besides that, I think the two things that jump out is all the money we wasted going over budget, ordering food for every single friend we have. Anybody could come over and get a turkey burger as long as he was our homeboy. And then um, recording, producing a joint called Original with Mark Batson, who, if you're a music head, Mark Batson rocks with Dr. Dre. Mark Batson, like they say about Stevie Wonder, he's a musical genius. Mark Batson is a musical genius. Look up the brother. The man is a musical genius. But he sat with us, and me and Lee Major had an idea for a joint, and we played him the joint. And we said, yo, something like this. And he literally said, play it again. All right. Like that? And we were like, exactly. 15, 20 minutes. The man literally took the vibe we were trying to capture and did it in front of our faces, yo. That's when I knew I better just keep rhyming.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, yo, I knew like, all right, this beat making thing is might not be my lane just yet. You know what I'm saying? Cause my boy was a wizard. I need the block, please. Thank you. My son just brought the charger. He's about to make sure we good to go.
All right.
But yeah, Mark Batson producing and buying food for a third of Brooklyn. That's my
So,
two memories.
what kind of reception did you guys get when you dropped Ambush, the winner of 1994?
So Ambush was honestly, Ambush was one of those things that it kind of slipped through the cracks because Swing It, like I said, didn't get that burn. It wasn't the type of record we was trying to do. It didn't fit with what hip hop was at the time. It was a little, I don't know, maybe dated tone wise or something, and track wise. But thank you, son. But I think that we run things and remember we see what happened was we kind of when that happened. Ian Alexander was our A&R at the time. He also went on to do Black Eyed Peas album next when they brought in Fergie. But before that, he worked on our album. Actually, before they brought in Fergie, the album before is the one he did. But he was really tight with Chris Lighty, God rest his soul. They was roommates. So naturally, he was like, yo, we got to get Ali on this. Yo, you know what I'm saying? And that's when we run things. Because those records were recorded for that album. They were recorded after they got out what we've been saying to them. Like, yo, we can't just slap. We need to do fresh joints. You trying to whip out this album real quick because the negotiation took long and you have a quota to meet for your distributors. And it's like, come on, man, like let us. And then we got a chance to go back in with Ali and make We Run Things. And then Salam remixed Remember We. And at that time, then when those singles dropped, we got that real response. That like what was it? What was it? Brooklyn. I forgot. One of the radios, I think it was 98.7, had some big thing in the park. I mean, like it looked like Woodstock, and we wasn't even on the headline. But when we showed up, DJ Enough at the time had saw us, and he a Flatbush head, you know what I mean? So he turned and saw us. He was like, yo, he put up the single. Y'all want to do the joint? Because you know how them shows are. There be that little lag in time where they try and get the next group up, and then the crowd kind of. So Enough as a DJ want to keep that joint live. So the minute he seen us and he knew we had a single that Cats was rocking to, he was like, yo, y'all want to do that? We were like, boom, 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 boom. This y'all, that y'all. We came out, yo, and Miss said the response. I felt like Super Cat that afternoon. The response, because it was hometown, it was Flatbush, it was fresh, it was new. They just heard the record. And so to answer your question, that is what I would bottle as our real response during that first album. That's what let me know, all right, we got something.
Right. When you dropped those two singles, the first one being, or the second one being We Run Things, and then Remember We, what kind of momentum did you see as far as the album went?
To be honest, the momentum wasn't really there, album sales wise. And so, what we did, the label couldn't figure us out. Like I said, we would have been better with a Cold Chillin', probably Jermaine or something. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that's gonna be like more independent minded and jump in there and be like, understand that combination, that booyah bass, hip hop, reggae, what you trying to, it's a different thing. So you can't just do the regular thing. So at the time, there was some brothers that came into the fold, J.D. Stewart and my man Magic, and they would take us everywhere. everywhere because they heard the buzz. You know what I'm saying? Like they knew, like there's money there. Like, what are y'all doing? What is this label doing? So then we just started rolling, man. We just started rolling. We just go anywhere, everywhere. And then naturally, you know how it is, like the time that you have as an MC is congruent with drug dealer times. You feel me? Like people are at work and school and you just waking up. So our times match up with the hustlers. So that's who end up taking you to this club and taking you here. You know what I mean? So now you showing your face and you but obviously hip hop and our message wasn't really geared towards, you know, being too rah-rah. You know what I'm saying? Even though we lived, that's, you know, what we was around, like, but our message was still upon our Rasta vibe in our spirit, in our mentals, like, you know, trying to do God complex and trying to talk about things that, you know, take the people them out of the fuckery. You know what I mean? Like that was always instilled. If you Caribbean, you kind of always got that instilled in you a little bit, at least back then, you know?
Right.
So the mentality is always like burn out Babylon and you know what I mean? Don't go for the fuckery and you know?
Right.
So that's kind of the mentality we would come with, you know?
Overall, were you pleased with that debut album?
Hell no.
No.
Hell no. Hell no. You know, listen, Gravity is the album, brethren. Gravity is the album that we say, yo, come, brethren, make we do our thing. And then we started locking out, and he was a good dude though, but we started locking out the A&R. Like we started, he can't come in the session. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we started doing stuff to make it our thing.
Right.
You know, at first, yo, somebody get a big check. Yo, it's a big money in a brethren. Listen, our first video was $75,000. In early 90s. Snoop's first video was 90. To give you an idea. You know what I'm saying? To give you an idea. So this is how this label is invested in you, but then they not really investing in you. So it's confusing. So you think, yo, big budget video, you know what I mean? Yeah, man, things are going. But then when the video done, you're not getting a call. No, nobody not do nothing when you call. It sit on their desk. They didn't send it off to the other person. So if you lose 2 days out the week, come Wednesday, they might do something. And then Thursday, Friday, ain't nobody really in the office. They out at the studio. They out. So nothing ever gets done.
Right.
And I'm sitting there like, yo, man, I little youth and I can't see this. This don't make sense. This don't equal success. You know what I mean? But again, what you gonna say? What you really gonna say? I mean, you gonna rebel, you gonna bitch, you might punch somebody, you might right a wrong. What you really gonna do? You know what I'm saying? What you really gonna do?
Right.
So this is the tension and the frustration that was under a lot of the people were dealing with then, you know what I mean? But now that has evolved and changed. So it's a blessing. But back then, that's all it was, man. That's all it was. A lot of things would have changed had we had the awareness we have now with social media, where you could see, you know, get game from each other.
Right.
You know. But we was blessed though. We was blessed. We was blessed. No complaints. We was blessed because from King's Son to you know, to Zulu, to KRS-One, to everybody supported, Brethren. Everybody. Let me tell you, the people will walk across, the see me and walk across to come shake my hand. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not name dropping. I wouldn't even sit here and do that. But people that I would be like, damn, yo, money came over just to shake my hand. So when people like music, when the music genuine, you know, even though you might have the $1 million and stuff, not everybody get the cash, you know what I mean? But yo, the love feel good, you know what I mean? The love feel good, seriously,
Right.
especially when it gives you a different confidence.
Right.
I mean, I had a money confidence, but it's a different confidence, a roots confidence.
Right.
See, I could shake your confidence when it's money, but when it's a roots confidence, you can't shake that money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what we have to lean into and give thanks for still, you know?